Thanks for stopping on our channel, which is dedicated to central heating. And as you can see, I've been doing this a long time. Whether you install or you have heating, hopefully my videos will make a difference, but please leave me a comment in the section below. Lights, action, camera, let's begin. In this video, I want to share with you central heating around the world. Because I often have a few minutes time, and I like to look at YouTube and different central heating systems because that's the world I've been in for quite a few years. So I got to thinking, from the equator upwards, the cold parts, who builds the best houses and who builds the worst? So we'll sort of ignore a little bit of Mexico because that's in the upper hemisphere. So I'm really looking at Russia, Europe, America, United States, Canada, and down here, Australia, New Zealand. So the question is, which of these areas builds the best houses and who builds the worst? So let me give you my opinion on who builds the best houses, the greenest, cheapest to run, and overall places where people want to move to. And what I found was, it's these people here, Australia and New Zealand. By far, they have fantastically built houses with either a bungalow is the most popular choice, which everybody loves, and they get swimming pools, large gardens, and so on and so on. So they're the people down below that have the best quality in house building. So the question now is, who is the worst? Is it the Russian lot, Europe, America, or Canada? Well, what I found is, it's America. They build the worst houses. They're made of wood, plywood, polystyrene, and paper. Very little bricks. And I'm talking about just normal family houses or bungalows, 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Just normal dwellings for a family. America. Next time you see pictures of where they have a tornado going up and down, well, they call them hurricanes, we call them tornadoes around the planet. You'll quite often see that if it's a hurricane, the only thing standing is the brick-built chimney breast. Everything else has been flattened or burnt. And this is an example. That's what they're made of. Whereas most of the other places, we use brick, breeze block, and solid materials for our houses. So there we are, now we know. When it comes to central heating around the planet, I thought I'd have a look at lots of different YouTubes made, well, in Europe I know, because I've got one foot in Germany and Poland, so I know what they have, and I'll come to that later on. But I thought I'd have a look in America, how they do their hot water and heating in a normal, either a bungalow, 1, 2, 3, 4 detached house, just normal, how they do it. And here's a little photograph of an English person called Tim Barry, who shows us a typical detached house, maybe a 4-bedroom, and how they do it. And the answer is unvented hot water and air conditioning. Very rarely do they have radiators. They do have skirting radiators that go around the whole edge of a room, and they might do that, and we call that kick space heating. And it used to be very popular to go underneath a kitchen unit, and it would blow and provide heat in the kitchen. Now we put radiators in as a norm, let's say, because it's a lot easier to do. But they would normally have aircon which is very cheap to run, because the end result of central heating is to warm up this air that we walk around. Well, in Europe, UK and bits of Australia and New Zealand, we use radiators, but it's not the most efficient way, because we're warming up cooking boiler water to 80 degrees, which uses an awful lot of gas, for that radiator to be pumped around and slowly cool down and dissipate the air. Well, we can make a leap forward by simply warming up a unit and ducting that warm air around the house. So it's obviously going to be the most efficient and the best way. And especially if you have a bungalow where the roof is just one huge cavern, able to put ducting across the top and just drop down for each room. Much more efficient and cheaper to run. But we don't seem to do that in UK, and we don't do that in Europe that much. So in Australia, this boiler here, this is what we know as a Worcester Bosch SI or CDI, but they call it hydronic. Hydro as in water, and dronic as in pressure or flow. So it's a high pressure water boiler, whether it's water or whether it's central heating. So here's a picture, look, they actually call it hydronic systems, which is fine. And as you can see here, it's a Bosch, which we always love. We installed thousands of them, and they're really good, and the graphics that they provide me and make available is second to none, which is why we love them. But anyway, so hydronics down the bottom, and they use a mixture of air conditioning, because we know Australia gets very hot, and aircon is good because then you can flip the switch on the burner and just take the chill off the air, and we can maintain a temperature of, for example, 18 or 20 degrees and zone it in a way. So it's a much more efficient system, which we really should do here. And as I just said, in a bungalow, it should be compulsory to have air conditioning, because it makes so much sense. Across Europe, they still use the same type of system that has been going on, which is sealed system and unvented for hot water. And that works well. I'm not going to talk about the rest of the planet because they don't have a heating problem. They have an aircon problem, but we're talking about central heating. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below on anything that we cover here, or if you'd like videos on fault finding or central heating, get in touch and I'll be happy to have a look, and if I can, I will. So here I'd like to talk about 3 different types of systems, and a big thank you to Worcester Bosch for their fantastic graphics that they do and allow us to use them, because they're the best in that world. So here we are, here's 3 different types. So we've got Combi boiler, unvented, and traditional 2 zones with tanks in the loft. So I will go through each one, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and give you some idea of maybe changing from one to another, or you've got the best, that's it, brilliant, fantastic, etc. So we're going to look at these in relation to the installations across Europe and the UK. Always have to make it separate because we're in a different world to what they are. So just briefly, a Combi system combines. That's why I'm called Mr. Combi. It's a trademark, I own it. Combi. One box, here's an example, one box where you've got the pump, the diverter valve. That red expansion vessel replaces the expansion tank in the loft, and there's a hot water plate to plate which replaces the cylinder and the tank in the loft. So you just turn the tap on, the boiler fires up, provides you instant hot water, turn the tap off, and it's finished. The central heating here is, as always, a pump, and it zips around much faster than it used to be. So that's a Combi boiler, combines hot water and heating in one unit. Then a step up from that would be A boiler, it can be a combi boiler, or it just could be a system boiler, an old-fashioned, just a burner, no diverter valve, nothing to do with hot water. So that could be that, but the hot water is generated by this cylinder here, and it's called an unvented cylinder. And the good bits about that is there's nothing in the loft. So no pipes to burst, no nothing. It gives you fresh water under much higher pressure and greater flow rates than a combi can even dream about. So this is normally used where there's one bathroom, one tap, one kitchen sink, one shower. Combis are good at that. They make larger models, for example a 40 kilowatt, which might be 1.5 or 2, just depending who lives there. But it's really designed for one family. This could be 2 families or a much larger house. So you can store either 100 litres or 300 litres, maybe more. Maybe you can have 2 of these in a much larger house. So the boiler can be at one end and the hot water could be at the other end, and it's pumped across, and everybody's got high pressure hot water. So a little bit more complicated than this, but not that difficult for a basic installer. But you do have to have a certificate for unvented cylinder installations. So please make sure that if you do want that in a large 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house, that would be the way to go. So make sure that that installer holds that special certificate and it comes from a reputable place. So that's that. Now here we've got the traditional 2-zone, and we've got a slightly different cylinder here. This is open to the atmosphere, where this is sealed. So this needs a tank in the loft and another tank in the loft for the central heating, just to top it up, etc. And the boiler can be just an ordinary boiler, or it can be a combi as well. So you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the combi side to maybe for the kitchen sink or utility room, and that's the end. And then the cylinder can go to another area, which is the bathroom. So it's a lot cheaper than this, but it gives you lots of hot water. The downside, of course, is you've got tanks in the loft and much lower pressure of hot water. So if you've got distance is an issue in your dwelling, in your 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house, that wouldn't be a very good way of moving forward. So hopefully you can understand which system is good or bad, and let's have a look at the 3 systems much closer. So we've looked at the 3 different systems, and let's have a look at the map of Europe. And sorry about the shiny bit on the top, the lights, that we don't have those super duper front lights that over here for these videos. It's on in that way. So let's just have a look, right? So we've got the 3 different systems. Let's start from the beginning, combis. We're going to look at France, Germany, Holland, Benelux, Poland, Scandinavia, UK, because they're the areas that have long winters and they need good central heating, and obviously we need hot water everywhere. So a combi boiler, fitted, all of them. Every single country uses combi boilers in their normal installations in houses, and it's the choice of upgrading from no heating to very cheap or low cost installation side of it. So combis are everywhere. The next one is unvented. So we're looking at across here, all the countries here have unvented cylinders to a certain extent, mostly across Europe. So Poland, Germany, Benelux, France and Scandinavia, it's the normal way. So they will have either a combi and an unvented cylinder, or a traditional normal open boiler with an unvented cylinder. So that's everywhere. Then we've got our 2 zones with tanks in the loft. When we look across the continent, not allowed. It's banned. Banned in the 60s. Scandinavia, banned. Only one area still allows tanks in the loft and open cylinders. And that's the UK. I can't understand why it's the worst type of system that we can have. And when I go through each one, you'll understand. But what I don't really understand is that all of the countries have their own technical departments and department of this, that and the other, and they all more or less reach the same conclusion. We either do it as a unit or we don't. So what we have across here is one plug. What we have across here, they all drive on the right. The UK didn't get that message. We drive on the left and we have a different plug. So we've always got aggro when we're trying to go from here to here or anywhere else. Why does this happen? I don't understand. How could a government see that all the cars in Europe, America and Canada, they all drive on the right, so the English government decides we'll go on the left? I can't understand that. 90% of humans are right-handed. God's children are left-handed. Thank God for that. But why the UK is out of step, I don't understand. And as I said with plugs, they only have one plug and job done. In America, they've got the best plug on the planet. It's either got 2 pins or 3 pins and you can't get it wrong. But the UK, we've got square pins. Well, they might be the safest, but they're not practical and they're more expensive to produce. Why do we keep getting things in the wrong way round? I just don't understand. And why are we still got tanks in the loft? It should have been banned in the 60s, 1960s, as it was across the channel. It's a much, much better way. We're still riddled with it. And I do wish people up the top in this country would suddenly say, right, George is right. Let's stop having tanks in lofts, all that sort of rubbish, and let's go hygienic, efficient and cheaper to run. What's wrong with that? And bang goes my knighthood. So I'm never going to be Sir George anymore, because if you criticise that lot, that's the end of you. If you did that in Russia, you'd disappear. But luckily here, you just don't get an award. So here we go.